All right. Welcome, everyone. It is January 9th, training day breakdown, and we have some stuff to cover. My notepad out right here. Got my cup of coffee. I wear a nasal strip, by the way, in the morning when I wake up. I wear it to bed because I broke my nose in an AAU game. I remember it vividly. I was going to be a senior, going into my senior year, so whatever, like 17. And I shot a layup. I got undercut, fell face first on the ground. Don't remember like any of it. I think I got a concussion from it, knocked out. The ball went in. I was like bleeding out my nose. They call it a timeout or whatever because my nose. They had no trainer on site. Like a 10-minute delay. I came back. I shot my free throw. I made it. Sat back on the bench with this like throbbing nose. And I went back in the game and played. I made a couple threes. I actually played pretty well after that. Whatever, but didn't get it fixed, and it's just causing me, like a deviated septum. So like if you stick a Q-tip in one side of my nose, it can't go all the way up, and it affects my sleep. So, not like you guys care, but fun fact. Snow day. January 9th, a snow day. I originally had started the day off, well, because it snowed, I just spit out some breakfast. That's disgusting. Gross. I just ate, by the way. Rice and eggs, but I had fried rice. I had this rice. I put it in olive oil and I cook it as I get my little baby boy's stuff ready. And I took it at a low temperature and it gets all nice and crispy. It's such a weird thing I love so much. I don't know why, but it's great. Fried rice with eggs. It gets me through whatever workout I have coming up. I don't know. It's magical to me. My coffee is a ginger coffee, by the way. It's ginger, cinnamon, and coffee. It's great. Whatever. Let's get started. So, snow day. I was going to train in my garage. And I was going to do some jumps. And I was going to go downstairs and do my bench press work. But the whole day got turned upside down in a good way. It was fun because the wife got off work. Because she got off work, we could take the little kid outside. Because we went outside, I got some crazy training ideas after I'd done this initial workout that I'll talk about here, by the way. So it's kind of 2 workouts in one. It was really fun. So I stayed at home, and when I'm at home and I'm in a garage, I don't have a ton of space, and so naturally there's not a ton of variability. So what I'll do here is I often do different types of jumps. I'll jump from a side to forward, like over a hurdle, then I'll jump with a horizontal emphasis, then I'll jump with more of a vertical emphasis. And the whole idea is pretty simple. You're just trying to get in jumps because the jumping helps your legs be more explosive through motor unit recruitment and all that fun stuff. But you want to get a total volume of you actually trying. And so I guess in theory you could just stand there and jump as high as you can 40 times. But you're really not going to try that hard to jump 40 times. You might do a couple really hard, but then you can't get bored. And so by adding variability, there's a novel stimulus to it. And you have a novel stimulus, you get a little bit of a dopamine response, you get excited to do it, and you try harder. So of those 40 jumps, if I were to stand in place and do them with my best effort possible, I'm sure it'd be great for my legs. Can I actually stand there and do 40 jumps, just jumping straight up as high as I can, not trying to touch anything, not trying to jump over anything in a row? Probably not. I'm not crazy like that. I need some sort of a stimulus. So I did the jumps. And then I wanted to keep some movement going, so I went downstairs and I worked on some deceleration. And a lot of times when we train deceleration, so often you see people just train like they run and they stop, which is fine, I guess. But it's not really that intense. You watch a football game, for example, people run and they'll plant their foot and they'll decelerate immediately in these joint angles and then redirect. So deceleration into redirection. And that's what this movement goal of mine is. I'm trying to sprint forward, hit the ground, lift myself back up and redirect. And in doing so, there's a large deceleration emphasis placed on the leg, but I'm actually trying to sprint into the movement. A lot of times when we do this deceleration work, people kind of just jog into it and stop. That's not that hard. It's not that demanding. And it's not really that relatable because you're preparing your steps on the way forward. At least with the stop and lift, in my head, I'm pretending like I'm running and planting the foot and trying to juke someone. I'm not very good at this. It would look a lot better if I was more athletic. This is definitely a weakness of mine. But it's something I want to work on, and it's something that I think you can overload not through excessive complexity, like, oh, now you need to have someone you're chasing and whatnot, or maybe you gotta have a defender you juke out, which you can do. I think an easy way to overload it is just to sprint faster into your deceleration, because the demands of deceleration come from trying to stop yourself. And if I sprint faster into it, and I try to stop over the same period of time, 1 or 2 steps, and if I sprinted faster, it's a larger decelerative loading. So that's what I'm working on there. But really the day was supposed to be upper body stuff, athlete training day, athlete training team day for my training program. You guys can check it out if you want to join. But we had bench press, and we'd come off of a bench press series where we'd been heavier volume. So I call this like strength volume work. And people call this, the effective reps, where like over a certain percentage of your 1 rep max, you starts to have a certain elicit an adaptation, put it that way. And so we've been doing 2 days of that, and we've been doing maybe 3s, 4s, and 2s, so doubles, triples, and 4s for the lifts in total of reps, and maybe 6 to 8 sets, depending on how many reps we're doing, at an intensity greater than 77%. So it's been kind of tiring, and lately my bench has been kind of feeling, eh. But then I went in here, and I don't really bench that well in this basement. The setup of a bench press matters a lot for me. The environment matters a lot for me. Depending on where I'll go, I might be able to bench a lot more or a lot less. Call me crazy, it is what it is. But I benched 310 here for a double, and I haven't done that in a really long time. And I was really happy with that. I was heavier last time I did that. That might be a PR for my weight right now, 310 for a double, and it felt really good. I almost did another one. I did one more single just to feel it. I really wanted to go to 315, but I know better than that. The day didn't call for anything extreme. But it's just nice to know that with nice proper programming, when you understand you're supposed to have fatigue, you can contextualize it like I talked in my last video, and then you can expect certain things on certain days. Like I expected for today to be stronger, and it was, which made it really, really nice. And then after, I did some upper body work. Again, a little bit of a deload, so I don't have enough room to overhead press totally, so I do this up and over lift with my shoulders. It's kind of a nice thing, go behind the neck, front of the neck, behind the neck, front of the neck. Not a full lockout because I can't, but a nice shoulder exercise. And then some triceps and different bicep variations, because why not? Now, what you guys really care about is the fun stuff here. So, it's snowing. It's snowing quite a bit, and it's a heavy snow. It's a wet snow, a packed snow. So for those of you, first off, that means I'm shoveling a lot today. My God, I shoveled the driveway like 3 times. It takes like 30 minutes. Surprisingly tiring. I ate a ton of food yesterday because of that. Because just being outside in the cold, shoveling is not an easy task. My chest cramped one time. I'd benched earlier, and I was shoveling snow. My chest cramped up as I was doing it, which was kind of a weird feeling. Probably the first person to have a pec cramp shoveling snow. But point is, with that snow, you have to pain in the butt to shovel. It makes it great for packing. And so we went outside with the little one, and you're like, oh, let's make a snowman or something. And I start rolling the snowball and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. And then I got kind of a crazy idea. So I was like, I'm gonna go in the backyard. I'm gonna film this because I'm nuts. And I wanna roll how big of a snowball I can make. And I made this pretty large snowball. I got to a point where I couldn't really push it. I had trouble turning it over. It must have been, I don't know, you'll see it in the video. It's large enough that I had to step up on, I had to create a step in the snowball, the snow brick, snow block to get on top of it. So I did that for my warm up. And then I was like, well, because I rolled all the snow, I cleared out a path on the ground. And by doing that, you lift up the snow and you have the grass on the ground. And now I have a place to jump. So it's like, uh-oh, I got an idea. So I started doing depth jumps off of this giant snowball. And I brought my hurdle out and I started doing drop jumps on it. And first off, it's so fun. I felt like a kid again, being outside in the snow, an absolute blast. And when you're doing that, it's so easy to train hard because you're enjoying it so much. It's a challenge. It's just a great example of why proper novelty, like I mentioned earlier, is so important. So I did that, and then I made these snowballs, and they were like, I don't know, however, a pound maybe a pound, maybe a little bit less, maybe more, depending on the size. And I was doing some overhead tosses with them. It's like some kettlebell tosses, or medicine ball tosses, I should say. And I was chucking them into the cornfield. I could measure their distance. So I did a bunch of those. Next thing you know, I'm getting an explosive lower body workout in the snow, hucking stuff around, being explosive. Did some forward repeat jumps. It was absolutely extremely fun. And I think that's the biggest takeaway. Well, is it like the greatest plyometric workout of all time? Well, I'm trying really hard to jump. I'm jumping my fastest and my highest. I'm exploding with every movement. So I'm sure the motor unit recruitment is there, right? Motor unit recruitment is your brain recruiting the neurons to activate your muscles, and that's highly dependent upon your effort. Not just the weight on the bar. It's not really always the weight on the bar, but the effort, the intent that you try to move it. And if it's fun and exciting and you throw this thing over your head, well, then of course it's going to be recruiting those motor units. And that is just like a great example. I could have been out there for another hour. I was actively like, I should probably not continue to do this because I'm going to get really tired. But it was just fun, and that's what it comes down to. And if we can do that in our training and find ways to make training more fun, and this is something I have not totally failed to do lately. I haven't been as conscious of it. With my younger athletes, I definitely am. But I want to bring back maybe in my training some of the balloons I used to use. I've been bringing the Frisbee drill back and some other stuff to add some external fun to train. I use the tennis ball. The tennis ball is fun, but it hasn't been enjoyable like that was outside. And so that's a good reminder for those of you who are like myself, who like to train, but then you don't just want to train and do something excessively mundane and routine every single time. You want to maybe keep the theme the same, but then have some variability within it. So it's like I said in the previous video, it's the same, but just a little bit different. So that kind of wraps up the training day. I guess in other news, if you guys are UFO people like myself, there's that weird jellyfish video that got released. I'll put a clip of it here or something. Not sure what to make of it. I was and am a UFO enthusiast. I wouldn't call myself a connoisseur. I find the topic interesting. You've heard me talk about it on previous podcasts before, some of my ideas and thoughts behind it. It's interesting that we're getting these videos released, and these videos, I don't know, they're not the most amazing quality, but they are, by the way, if you take into consideration, if the data is correct or the testimony is correct, they're coming from very refined technological sources. Anything that's military based that we use to track things with, it's going to be a very accurate in terms of its tracking. And so it's interesting, and I keep my eye on it. If anything comes up, I'll bring up those topics, by the way, other random topics as I do these videos, and continue to build stuff out that's kind of fun, and so you get to learn a little bit more about myself. For dinner, I made some chicken enchiladas, by the way. I was so stupid. Before I go, I'll tell you this, I guess, whatever. I do this every now and then. I cut chicken, like this big Costco thing of chicken, and I sliced it like, I'll describe it. It's like a 6-pack of chicken, but they're all kind of webbed together with plastic. And I cut an edge off without knowing it, and so the chicken partially leaked in the fridge, just partial. I cooked 2 of the bags of the 6, and then I'm like, shoot, now I don't know which bag I cut. So I had to cook all 6 bags. So now I'm stuck with like, I don't know, 9 pounds of cooked chicken, because I cooked it all so I can get it out of my fridge. I didn't want to freeze it and have like loose chicken, whatever. So I had 9 pounds of chicken, so I made chicken enchiladas last night for dinner. So if you guys have any chicken entree ideas, let me know. They're not seasoned. I just cooked them so I could put them in stuff. But now it's a daunting task to try and complete it all. Well, whatever. Appreciate you guys as always. I hope you guys enjoy these. Thank you for listening, and take care.